What's up guys, I'm Mark from the Sharkstead. This is another weekly showcase of progress. I'm stood in the back alley at the minute and you might notice it's looking a little bit tidier. So let's crack right into it. So I can see a little bit of change. The weather's been a bit rubbish this week. So we've just took the time to move all the logs, tidy around here, all the stuff we brought from that tip just the other week, we sorted out. Use some of the bags we get from the builder's yard to cover the propane tanks. Just keeps the snow off the valve, but nothing really that interesting. We've been coming down here, done a little bit of tidying, moved the kitchen beam across there underneath the tiles so it doesn't get dripped on as much. All the bottles have been moved. So a little bit more exciting, let's get towards here. So the logs that were there, they've all come from over there. So they still need to be processed, but because we're in the middle of garden and landscaping and prep, we thought, right, let's just leave them there for now because we're not using the washing line, and let's tackle the chain-link fence in the middle. And what that entails is an absolute nightmare. So this tree stump here, for starters, you can see how it's been intertwined with the fence over time, but we want to be able to use it as much as we can. It's a free resource and it's burnable. It keeps us warm next year. So it's just a little bit difficult. But getting all this out by hand is a challenge. You can see how it used to be there. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute. So a little bit more tidying around here. The barrel's been moved to the hardcore bed. The metal frames that were previously off the windows, and we've been using them for trellises this year, they've been all sorted out. So just before I go over there, there's not much going on, but we've done a little bit of change around in the log store. You might see a gap just behind that tree stump because the Tinderbox has been moved. I'll just carry on with what I'm saying about this. So, well, where do I start? Right, so there used to be 2 piles. So just this week, it's gone from a really tidy garden and looking really, really smart, and then to an absolute mess in a matter of a week. So all these have been trimmed and cut down from behind our wall here. Now, like I said, I mentioned last week, the owner of this property doesn't live here anymore, but we do have permission to use and look after her land, and with that comes a bit of landscaping. So you can see I've been chopping all the logs and gone all the way down. The one I've left there, that's actually a cherry tree, and it did really well this year. So unfortunately, the grape vines go up in it and it just needs a bit of tidying up. But it's a big enough gap between the wall, so that one's staying. That's a really nice one. But I've gone all the way down the edge. And with that comes this. So you might think on the outside it looks really pretty, but I can't remember the exact name of what this breeder plant is. But it's very toxic and poisonous to humans, and it creates very itchy skin when you get the juice on you. So, I mean, without popping them, you're all right to touch or whatever, but they're not very nice. And they're invasive, incredibly invasive, and you can see there's more growing there and more growing there. So these are the thickest I've seen them. Sometimes they just grow about a couple of foot, but when they're let loose, they actually go wild. You can actually see some of the stumps here that I've started to just cut because they need digging out. So all that's been dragged around this way. And you can see I've still got loads of vines to tidy up. We're going to leave it in a good state, and I'm trying to collaborate all the vines in one place and then bundle it all up, chuck it on the back of that little red tractor and take it down to the tip, and maybe possibly come back with some stones. So I'll try and keep these videos a little bit shorter because they are just weekly updates, but sometimes it's hard to keep it concise, especially when there's loads of stuff going on. So this is the last bit of chain link fence to come down, and as you can see, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And once that's out, that's the worst of my nightmare over. So all this is going to get processed now before moving on to any more excavating of the land. So I turn that into this. So larger ones get stored away and cut. That's like a medium tinder. And then all the little spindly bits, that gets put back into the Tinderbox. You can see I've tried saving as much chain link fence as possible got about 10 metres worth, which isn't too bad. So moving on quite swiftly onto the back, there's nothing much changed, but you can see it's getting a little bit closer. So you can see those metal frames, they used to be behind us, went against the summer house, and that's the Tinderbox that's come out of the log store. So now it's empty. We're going to be using all the vines and all the spindly bits that are too big to degrade in the raised planter to use as tinder for next year. You can see I'm halfway to the middle for the footings of this retaining wall. And once this looks like white stone, it's going to be amazing. It's going to look really nice. So I'm just going to move back down towards here. Cherry tree planter's looking nice and smart. Like I say, we're hoping to get more stone this week, but we're not expected very good weather, so it might just be progress on the bathroom, which we'll post about soon. So still haven't tackled the tree stump there. Absolute nightmare. So the Tinderbox used to be here, and we emptied it and ready to bring these inside when we need. There's 10 bags of tinder, and that's all sticks that we sorted out last year. These are all old ex-roof trusses and joists, and we started bringing them in as well. So the basement is looking a bit like a sawmill at the minute, but never mind. So yeah, like I say, I try to keep these videos nice and short. Short and sweet, but with a lot in them. But I would like to just take a minute to thank people who have got in touch recently. It's been really heartwarming and a humbling week for us. We've had loads of good interest, loads of positive feedback, and made some good connections. And that's all it's about. Like-minded individuals getting in touch and understanding the journey. We're not paying hundreds of thousands of pounds to build our dream house. We're going to do as much of it as we can by hand and learn the skills along the way. And it just means a lot. It just means a lot. So thanks again for that. And for any new people, drop a link, drop a like on the bottom, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.